Shawn, if there's one thing I love more than anything in the whole world, it's a comic convention.
Oh, Richard, cons are the greatest collection of like-minded people. You get cosplay, comics, panels, and it's just all the things we love. Could you imagine if we, Richard, the language of bromance, could take part in a convention?
Shawn, you don't have to dream. You know why? Because we, the language of bromance, will be at the Big River Comic Convention in Hannibal, Missouri on April 17th and 18th and 19th.
Oh, it's the BRCC. It's the second annual con on the Big River. What are we going to be doing at the 2020 Big River Comic Con in Hannibal, Missouri on April 17th, 18th, and 19th?
Well, not only will we have our own table where people can walk up and say, hi, how you doing? Which we encourage everyone to do. We'll also be hosting and moderating all panels that are there at the con. We'll have guest Mark Dodson, who, Shawn, the voices in Gremlins, for God's sake. One of my favorite Christmas movies.
The best Christmas movie.
It gets even better. For Return of the Jedi fans, we have the voice of Salacious Crumb. Yeah. Also, Carrie Means, who was the voice of Frylock.
Curse.
Harkening back some Aquatine. And none other than one of the comic book men himself, Ming Chen.
Oh, we love Ming Chen. Checking this out, this looks like there will be tons of other guests and vendors. Plus, Richard, you know what? I think on this special occasion, we should do a little giveaway and record an episode at our table.
That is a great and completely spontaneous thought that you've just had right then. So come to the con. It's in Hannibal, Missouri. And how much and when is this con again? Just so I know that you know that I know that you know.
So the 2020 Big River Con takes place on April 17th, 18th, and 19th in Hannibal, Missouri. And you can get your tickets at brcchannibal.com, which you won't believe these prices, Richard. Friday, you can get in for $10. Saturday, you can get in for $20. Sunday, you can get in for $15. Or if you want the whole weekend pass to come hang out with us for 3 days, only $30 and get you in for every single day.
Oh, that sounds amazing. So you've got panel guests, you've got vendors, you've got people to talk to, you've got an entire arcade downstairs where you can sit and play. I don't even know what's in the arcade. All I know is it's probably covered in awesome sauce.
I know I'll be there, and I cannot wait for the Big River Comic Con.
So we'll see you there. The panels are on Saturday, April 18th, and the rest of the weekend is going to be filled with nothing but amazing stuff. What's up, everybody? I'm Richard.
And I'm Shawn.
And we are speaking the language of bromance. And Shawn, I have somebody special today. I have somebody special, near and dear to my heart.
Oh.
But first, I'm here all the time. You're always here, but I'm going to tell you a story, okay? I'm going to tell you a story. So I'm going to take you all the way back to 2013. 2012, 2013.
Summer of love.
Back in the long ago. Yes, the summer of love. And I'm going to tell you about, this is when YouTube had gotten kind of, it hadn't reached the height that it is now, but it was definitely on the rise. People were looking at like, hey, this YouTube thing, this could actually be a thing that people should pay attention to. And I was always like, you know what? With everything you see on the internet, I was like, why is there not some sort of bridge between television and gaming? Like, why can't I see things like news programs or commentaries, or why can't I see that about video game content? Because I felt like that was a big deal.
Was this, this was post the death of G4?
Yes, this was post the death of G4. So lo and behold, I find this show on YouTube way back in 2013 with this guy that is giving me all the news I wanted. A slew, a litany, exactly the thing I envisioned in my head, that thing that I called out into the ether for. And I was like, you know what we need? Guess what, Shawn? I found it. Like lightning struck me upon my head, and the gods answered my call.
It is I. Me.
I wasn't done yet. I've got so much more. So I followed frequently this news show and a bunch of other things. And now we have to jump forward about another 5 years. No, wait. Yeah, 2018. And so I frequently watch Twitch a lot. All right. It's something I have on in the background while I'm performing my tasks of the day. There was one name that stuck out in my brain, and it was hearkening back to that show I saw years and years ago. And I was like, the guy that did that new show, he seemed so on it, so capable. He was, we're talking about somebody that figured out, hey, let's, bridge the gap between video and video games, video production and video games. I was like, that guy's got to be doing something. Sure enough, Shawn, he was.
It was.
On a random search in 2018, I found somebody that, like, honestly, in a way, achieved like almost a celebrity status to me, because it was like, oh my God, that's somebody that I see on the internet, that I saw on the internet on a regular basis. And not only that, Shawn, but now in this medium, in this Twitch medium, in this live streaming medium, I can actually interact with that person. I can go to my keyboard and I go clicky clacky and type words, and that person sees what I just typed and responds in real time. It threw me for a loop. So I kind of dipped in and out. I followed him early. I dipped in and out. There's a good period where I hadn't watched for a while, came back, and this guy had not only is still doing what he was doing when I found him 2 years ago. Well, like at this point, probably a year plus ago, but had grown a community of people. Like when I first found him, it was like maybe me and one or two other people just kind of like talking and like interacting and like having an awesome time. I get back and there's a whole slew of people and they're all interacting with each other. Shawn, this is somebody that has figured out a way to grow a community of really awesome individuals. So now I make mention, because I don't want to be, you don't want to be that guy, like
stalker guy.
Shawn, like, I don't want to like talk about, like, I feel a bit weird to mention my podcast, to like slut out my podcast to other people.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to be that guy, especially when you're not sure if it's welcome or not. But I did. I was like, hey, because at some point somebody was mentioning something about podcasts, and I said, well, I have a podcast, and we've been doing it for like about, at this point it was like about 3 years, and this guy was like, that's amazing, you should have me on your show. And I was like, whoa, that's too much. I'm intimidated by, like I said, it's almost like this celebrity, internet celebrity status to me. But finally I bit the bullet, Shawn, and today that internet celebrity, that bolt of lightning that had come down from the heavens and struck me on my face is here today. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my genuine pleasure to welcome Layne Pavoggi. Hi, Layne.
Hey, how's it going, you guys? It's
Thanks
a pleasure
for coming.
to be here.
Yeah, that was a huge intro by Rich. So, man,
yeah.
it's
I made notes because I didn't want to forget anything.
he rarely He rarely even talks about his wife that way, so you should feel pretty proud.
It's true.
Yeah, well, I hope I can live up to that, man. I feel like I have to like sound all echoey or something. I don't know, like a god.
Yeah. Already having more.
Cool.
Okay. So I guess the question, my main question that I like, the main question I have is back in, let's say 2011, 2012, you didn't see a lot of quote unquote video game content on especially something like YouTube, and especially in the format of a genuine, like, I'm going to tell you what's going on in the world. I'm going to, aggregate news for you because I think that's something that you find interesting. Where did the genesis of that come from for you?
Well, you're talking about my Layne On show, which, I did a whole gaming and entertainment news show every weekday morning, and I would actually do it before work, but I actually started it because I found out this guy within the company I worked for, which was called Maker Studios, was starting a gaming division, and I was all involved with comedy, but I love gaming. I love gaming more than I love comedy. That's for sure. And so I was like, yo, man, like, I want to do something. He's like, well, if you can figure out something to do while you can still do your normal job, your regular job, which was directing these comedy videos, for internet celebrities, then you can, yeah, sure, we'd love to have you on. I was like, okay. So I'm going to come up with basically a news show that I could write, film, edit, do all that stuff all by myself before I start my work in the morning, before I start my job. And so it really just started with like a format that I thought I could do, a format that I thought would work, that was, feasible. Right. And it's like, okay, news, like I look up all this shit in the morning anyways, it should be good to go. I just got to write it down. It proved to be much more difficult than I thought, but I stuck with it for years, man. I made hundreds of those.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it goes, so I guess going from there to Twitch, where does see, cause I guess my thing is that when it comes to things like that, I always feel like it's, the director, Kevin Smith, always talks about try to figure out where the puck is going. Don't try and go to where the puck has been. And I feel like, in your trajectory, like you were doing gaming stuff on YouTube back in, like I said, 2011, 2012. Yeah. And then in 2020, 17, 18, you have the thought like, hey, I should start, streaming content live on Twitch. I'm going to play Street Fighter on Twitch and, and people can come and watch and, shoot the shit and all that other, like, that is, to me, that's, like you started doing that, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4 years ago. Where did that, like, I guess, what's the genesis of that? Cause like I said, like, I feel like you strike me as somebody that's like, tries to figure out where the puck is going. So yeah, what made you think it was going there?
Well, it's just technology, like being involved with new media for so long, watching these dudes become successful on weird formats like Musical.ly, which is now TikTok, or Snapchat. I used to film Musical.ly videos. I filmed Snapchat videos. You know what I mean? I watched people like this guy named Bart Baker, who does music video parodies, really just like lowbrow, like not Weird Al style, like the lowest, like fart jokes, poop jokes, feces jokes, just, as lowbrow as it gets. I watched that guy become popular on every platform he touched. And it was because he was always ahead of the game. And like, he got excited. It was technology that he was excited about. And that's how I felt about Twitch. I was like, yo, this is amazing. Like the fact that you can sit here and talk with all these people while producing content, and the content is so open-ended because no one has done really anything on this platform other than sit on a camera and play video games. Like you can do so much. It's literally an unlimited, like it has unlimited potential. You can do anything you want. It's just so new. People choose to not really, they think it's already pretty amazing. They're just sitting there playing a video game. People are talking to them, but there's so much open-endedness to the whole thing. You can just, you know what I mean? It's exciting,
Yeah.
And that's how YouTube was back in 2010, before everyone started doing it.
Right.
Because I wanted to make movies when I was a kid. I moved to LA to make movies, and I worked as a sound guy before I got my job at Maker. And as soon as I found Maker and I saw what these people were doing within new media, embracing new technology and taking advantage of the fact that no one's really taking advantage, like that really inspired me. And so Twitch for me was that next evolution in new media, like this whole idea of interacting with the people, because YouTube had a taste of that. You get YouTube comments, and I always tried to implement like question of the day, and like I would answer people's questions. Someone got married to a girl that I gave advice to. He asked, "Hey, how can I ask this girl out?" And that guy still watches the stream.
Oh, that's awesome.
Him and his wife are divorced now, though.
He's like, second question, how do I end this thing?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's really just like being excited about this new emerging technology, because you can only do so many dolly shots in on the dramatic moment before it gets a little boring, just like anything else,
Yeah.
So do you feel with that this is your content? So I mean, you kind of mentioned like with the dolly shot, like you're kind of being directed and told how to do it. With Twitch and stuff like that, do you feel like it's really your own thing and that you get to do what you want with it?
Yeah, definitely, Shawn, man. It like feels so fresh, and it feels like unconquered territory, like everything you do on there feels new. If you do something a little off the cuff, like I have my buddy Mike, who's a sock that I talk to on my stream.
Oh, that's cool.
I see it as kind of like it's magic, man, which is, like back in the day with film, they, the man on the moon, whole moon thing. Have you guys seen this? Whatever it's called. Early films, they used a lot of magic. Film is magic, right? Making movie magic. There's a lot of magic involved. I feel the same thing with Twitch, but even more so because it's live. You're one man doing the whole thing. But yeah, it really feels like I'm doing something new, and I can really embrace it because I love games, man. I love games. I love video. I love technology. I really feel like it's very personal to me, and it's very fun.
So you're doing this YouTube stuff, and then, Twitch is coming around. You're probably starting to hear about it. What made you take that leap to Twitch? I know it sounds like where you're from, you kind of got a lot of experience with like seeing new technologies. When did you kind of take that jump, or what made you take that jump to Twitch?
Well, the funny thing is, back in the day when I was doing the YouTube show, this is in 2011, 2012. Mm-hmm. The Twitch guys or Justin TV guys, I actually like had dinner with them, and they were like, dude, the guys who started the whole thing.
Oh,
they're
that's
like,
cool. Okay.
Dude, you should do Twitch. Like you should get on here. I was like, nah, I'm really busy with my job. I just do my YouTube show. It's kind of like a side thing. It's really cool, but I just want to direct. I'm not really interested in being a host. Dude, if I would have started then, I'd be one of those guys that'd be sitting playing video games, just chilling, man, not saying anything, not talking to my chat. It'd be nice and easy.
After that dinner, Justin's like, I gotta go. I'm meeting some guy, Jeff something, Bezos something. I don't know. Something might come of it. I don't know.
Dude, I wish I would have embraced it back then, because that's when it first started. But it's been a hell of a journey, the whole Twitch to YouTube thing.
So because Twitch is tough. Twitch already like was gaining momentum when you jumped on then, or was there still you're doing your YouTube thing and but what made you say, well, I'm going to give Twitch a shot? Was it just kind of a shot in the dark, or was there
I was bored.
This would have been like Layne, you hopped on like 2015 or 16 or 17.
Well, 2017.
Okay.
The end of 2017. So Twitch is full like blast, you know. It's like it's been going for a minute. But yeah, I was bored, man. I was bored at work. I started when I was still working at Maker. And I was all excited about it, like the type of thing my coworkers get really annoyed, you know, because that's all I would talk about. And I'd be showing everyone my Twitch stream and all the like different things I'm doing. I'm, you know, saying, look at how cool this is. Look at, you know, what you can do. Like, this is awesome. You know, check this out. But it all came down to me just being really bored. You know, my company was turning super corporate. We got bought by Disney. You know, it's just my job basically turned into remembering passwords to log into my profile, different company profiles.
Right.
And I just hated it, man. And so I started seeking my own satisfaction once again, and I found it through Twitch.
That's awesome.
Yeah, there's so I mean, you like Rich and I both have day jobs, and you know those become, you know, what they are, their day jobs, but you still have to have that creative outlet. And that's kind of what this is for us. And it sounds like we're kind of cut from the same cloth.
Yeah. Well, and also like I guess the question I have is, you know, when it comes to the thing that I find so interesting with Twitch is not, I mean, the streamer's great and the content's great, but this streamer is, I mean, you could say this about any streamer, but they're building, they take their time and build a community of people on the internet, you know, and some of those get big and some of those, you know, so, I mean, and a lot of them, you know, start small and they all grow. And like you go to Layne's stream and you see, you know, you see a list of people just talking like they know each other, like they're friends, you know, but they're, you know, thousands of miles apart, but they talk to each other like, you know, like, oh, hey, where you been? I haven't seen you in a while. It's like almost like a bar. It's like that kind of camaraderie. It's like going to your local bar. That's probably what I'd make it akin to. And there's you know, the streamer that's in the role of the bartender that's, you know, facilitating and helping to grow that community. And that is what I find when like Shawn, when you and I like do our podcast, you know, like we talk and occasionally we talk to other people and, you know, like you put stuff on socials and stuff like that. And, you know, people respond or whatever. With Twitch, it's a daily interaction with a bunch of people that you grow to know, even though like some of them you might not ever even see.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. And that's what makes, I mean, what's the crazy part is going to like things like TwitchCon and seeing all these people in real life for the first time.
Yeah.
Like, that's extremely nerve-wracking and wild. But it is really strange to, like, I know people, I know when they're having midterms, I know what they're struggling about. I know about their stomach issues, you know, from the type of food they can eat, you know. Dude, it's so crazy how personal people get because you have that anonymity, you know. Yeah. And so I know things about, you know, people's wives that they would never say to their wives, you know what I mean? Like I know some crazy shit about people just because they feel anonymous on the internet, you know, and they feel like, you know, a certain person in that community. Yeah. Like I have people that say like, I don't act like this at all, but I could come here and kind of like let loose.
And for the record, people that are listening to the show that are frequent Layne's chat before the show, he told me everything. So I know everything. Yeah. So the next time I'm in chat, I'm coming for you guys.
Yeah.
So Layne, on that, do you feel almost like a therapist? It seems like it's almost, you know, you're playing your game, you're interacting with your sock, and people are telling you these, you know, very important things. Yeah. Do you feel almost like you know, because I mean, it sounds like you're doing a really solid for people. Do you feel like a therapist at times, kind of helping people get through stuff?
What? Yeah, 100%. Like, no joke, even you do. It's like, if I was to recommend, if someone's like, oh, I want to be a, you know, Twitch streamer, I would recommend that career path if you really wanted to do it, because there's so many people that approach you with their, issues, their problems, what they feel good about or bad about. You do feel like a therapist. And at times for someone like me, like I like speaking my opinion, but I always state like, yo, I don't have any, I'm not a therapist, I'm just a dude that plays games and knows shit about video. And like, that's about it. Like I have my opinions and all that, but take it with a grain of salt. I'm just one random ass dude that you're watching on the internet. I like to think that my, thoughts are pretty grounded and, I could give some okay advice, but I'm not some professional. It's tough because people will approach you with some really crazy shit, real dark stuff, and it's just, you got to try your best. And it's also like, you're just goofing around. You just beat some boss in Dark Souls and then someone's coming into your chat, talking some pretty dark stuff. And so you don't want to bring, it's a show. You're putting on a show. So sometimes you don't want to go there with the show. You know what I mean? It's like everyone's just chilling. Everyone's having a good time. Don't really want to talk about, your kids getting taken away by child services or some shit. You know what I mean? It's tough. It's a balancing act,
It's actually crazy now that I'm thinking about it, because I remember, like, how long ago? It was 2 years ago. Yeah. 2 years ago, my dad had died. Mm-hmm. And I totally recall going in Layne's chat and I'm like, guys, I feel kind of down. My dad died today.
Yeah.
And like everything kind of stopped for a second and everybody's like, I'm so sorry that happened. Mm-hmm. And like, I get, if you take a step back and look at it, you're going like a bunch of random people on the internet are giving you, comfort. Like, why is that important? But it actually like felt nice.
Yeah.
That people were genuinely like, hey, I'm like, that sucks, man. Like that happens. And, sorry that happened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I totally killed Layne's. I totally killed the vibe on that evening.
Yeah. I'm playing DOA beach volleyball.
My dad loved volleyball.
Loved getting in his bikini.
Yep.
No, but at the end of the day, that's what it's there for, especially the smaller communities like that, so it's acceptable, or it's not abnormal. And it's definitely like the community is supposed to be there for you. That's the point of it. There's nothing wrong with expressing yourself in this small community where you feel like people know you, and you feel like you can kind of confide in and find a little comfort in, that's one of the beauties of the whole thing. So
when you first started up on Twitch, I'm guessing did it take a while for you to feel before you felt like you had that community in place? And like, what was kind of the first few games and stuff that you started to play?
Yeah, for sure. I've always been in the fighting game community the past like 10 years, Street Fighter and stuff, but I knew I didn't want to become a fighting game streamer because I didn't want to be seen as solely competitive. I didn't want people just trying to play me and trying to best me and beat me. Like I wanted to do something else because I watch fighting game streamers and they struggle with that. Like all it is people just, puffing up on them. I don't know what else to say, but so I decided very quickly, you got to live in the house you build. So I'm going to start, I'm going to do shows. I'm going to do like news shows, just like I did on YouTube. I'm going to do like a motivational show for my fighting games. I called Motivational Street Fighter at the time. And I'm going to play games like Dark Souls and these single player games that I like in indie games like Enter the Gungeon. And it really took a minute to build the community, like way slower than I thought. Twitch is so hard, dude. Like I thought, me, I'm I was on YouTube, 30,000 views every time I uploaded a video 5 days a week, minimum. I knew all these internet celebrity people, I was thinking if anyone could do this Twitch thing, and I know video, I know audio, I know how to play games. I'm good at them. I'm in the fighting game community. I've been competing for 8 years at the time. If anyone can do this shit, I can do it, man.
Yeah.
Right?
The stars align in the sky.
The stars align. But here I am 3 years later, and I'm like, damn, dude, this is hard. Because I've built a community, but it's, it's still on the smaller side, And it's good though. Like, I'm very happy with the growth, and it's amazing to me every time that anyone tunes in. It's super cool. But it took a minute to build. Like, I streamed many times to nobody, just like everyone else.
How difficult and what made you keep going forward? Because I know Rich and I have tried it a little bit, like an intro to the show or something like that. We kind of dropped it pretty quick, mainly because the same thing. There wasn't anybody watching and all these kinds of things. So what made you keep going forward?
I just loved it. I loved it. I believed in it so much. And again, I had that confidence of, I had like the stars aligned for me. I really feel like this is my platform. Like, I feel like if anything is for me, it is this.
Yeah.
Because people don't get, like, I like games more than I like movies. Like, I've always been that way. I got into film because being a gamer or playing games, like, that shit didn't exist when we were growing up.
Right.
That wasn't a reality in any way.
Yeah.
I'm talking, when I was playing games heavy in high school in 2003, 2002, like, there is no such thing as being a professional gamer. There's very rare cases, but the world has changed.
Fatality, and that was it.
Exactly. And so, I chose the other path, like film path, like a dumbass, And no, but I really love Twitch, and that's what keeps me going every day. It's like, I really feel, for me, it's like, it's made for me. Like, in what I do, it caters to what my skill set is, and it's what I love, man. Like, it keeps me up at night. I stay up trying or thinking about this platform. I never did that with movies. Like, I don't stay up writing scripts. I don't stay up editing projects. I used to when I was in middle school, making my Blair Witch parody or whatever, but not anymore. I got a little tired of making videos even when I was, in college or in my early 20s. I was already a little tired of it. Twitch, I'm still not tired of it at all. I still see extreme like potential with the whole thing, not just for myself, but as a platform in general. And dude, I'm just like, I'm so in love with it. It keeps me going no matter what.
It's so crazy that after years, like, you still like, you just like, in your voice, you just sound so like hungry and excited. It's awesome. And Shawn, I'm going to tell you a little secret. I don't play a lot of fighting games. In fact, I don't play fighting games at all. It's not really my genre, but I still hop in Layne's chat and sit there and BS with people because it's just, nice place to hang out. Yeah. Maybe what he's playing isn't my thing, but who cares?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. Yeah. Twitch is kind of cool. I know there's a lot of people that do other things too, besides video games. That's kind of where they're expanding to it. Like, there's like arts and crafts, like people doing their arts and crafts over Twitch TV. I know there's a person I know who crochets and stuff like that, but just kind of looking over your stuff. I'm not super familiar with Twitch. I'm not a big gamer, but looking over your schedule,
I try.
You have specific things on specific days, like almost like a TV network.
Yeah.
What made you come up with that idea? Because that may be pretty common. I'm not sure, but it seems pretty unique to.
I don't think so. I don't see a lot. I don't see a lot of people doing that. Maybe they'll have like one set thing, but I don't see a lot of people doing that. You're right.
Yeah, I think I don't know many people that do the whole kind of show thing that I do at all. I feel like the only person sometimes, but I think again, it just adds to the variety and it creates like this sense of community. It's more about the show rather than just like watching me play fighting games. And once I play something else, you go off to somewhere, someone else. Like, that's why I start every stream with Free Update, which is a news show. I call it a discussion show because, I don't want people to think it's me just spouting off news. I bring up a trailer and then we talk about it for 15 minutes, just kind of, chat about it. Right. But I start with that because then it establishes the idea that, you're coming to hang out with me in this very general forum. It's not about anything too particular, just games and entertainment, which everyone's at least, somewhat interested in. And so it kind of, it sets a nice little ground level for everyone to come by. And it's like, oh, I don't care. Like, I'll hang around with Layne while he's playing Street Fighter, even though I'm not interested, because, I know that he cares about all this other stuff too. But I don't think anybody does the shows as much as I do. I got Free Update, Gaming and Entertainment News Show. I got Tuesday 2-game giveaway. Got Motivational Street Fighter. I've got 2 Hours to Kill, where I play a game for 2 hours, decide whether I like it enough or not to keep it, because Steam has a 2-hour return policy. You can return a game for any reason as long as you have less than 2 hours. And then I have the LPI, which is a tournament, like a fighting game tournament.
Well, that seems pretty genius to me. I mean, Rich just tried to sell me on Twitch, and to me, like, if I could create essentially my own TV channel, like network channel with different episodes or different like specific shows, like that seems pretty interesting to me. And I, basically just saying that's pretty genius in my opinion.
Oh, Shawn's getting fire in his eyes. I can see it.
Yeah. Well, the wheels are turning because, there's so like, I just always assumed that Twitch was basically you play a video game and that's what you're doing, but it sounds like there's a lot more.
Yeah.
And is this just, like you said, you sit up at night, you're, going through these things. What made you come up with that idea to have specific episode or specific, like basically TV shows essentially?
I knew I'd get super bored. Like if I got stuck like Dr. Disrespect playing just BRs for 2 years, I just, I'm all about, it's all about context and like formatting for me, like adding variety, not just for my audience, but for myself, because I don't want to get bored. I want to enjoy what I'm doing. And I like playing games, but not for 8 hours a day, like 8 hours a day sitting playing
Fortnite.
Fortnite, PUBG. Damn, dude, that's so boring. I always knew I wanted to split it up and like do other things amidst playing the games, because it's just too much. And you can tell with all these streamers, like they get really bored, or they're always looking for content or whatever. I'm like, I don't ever have to search for content, because each one of my shows is content. Like it's already there. I don't got to go twerk on stream in front of, an aquarium to like, feel good about my day. I got everything I do is content. It all has context,
Have you tried twerking in front of an aquarium?
I should, man. Maybe that's the ticket. That's how you become a big Twitch streamer.
That's going to be the new Monday night show.
Yeah.
No, it should be the new Tuesday day show.
Yeah, there you go.
Twerk Tuesday.
Mm-hmm. I like it. Yeah, but it's tough because it also segregates your audience, because there's some people that just come for Free Update and then they leave once I start up the LPI, like my tournament, So it does, I don't think it's the best way to grow. If I really wanted to grow fast, I would just play Street Fighter. I'd get really good at Street Fighter, just play Street Fighter all day, every day. But that sounds awful.
Is that one of the things I'm sure there's probably tons of people who just play Street Fighter. Would you end up kind of falling into the crowd with something like that? Is that with Twitch, is if you got really, really good at it, do you think that's something that you could expand upon and be kind of like one of the top 10 Twitch people? Or do you think that and I compare that because like podcasting, tons of people jump into the podcast ring right now. And unless you're, Kevin Bacon, who drops his new podcast and it becomes number one because it's Kevin Bacon, it gets more and more difficult to kind of get that basically noticed. Is that the same thing with Twitch, or do you think there's something there that you could, I guess you've already got kind of some stuff to discover on it?
Yeah. I mean, the thing about Twitch is there's so many games. There's so many niche audiences. There's little pockets, there's little pockets, and a lot of those pockets aren't filled, and there's not as many Twitch streamers, because the barrier to entry to become a streamer, especially with at least decent quality, is pretty high still. You got to have your video on point. You got to have your audio on point. You got to have your capture on point. You got to be pretty damn good at the game you're playing, and you got to have some kind of personality, whatever that may be.
See, the being pretty good is where I would falter, because I did consider it for a minute, but I was like, man, I'm just terrible. I'm just bad at game. Like, I love playing them. I usually am drawn more to like story-based games, and like when it comes to playing something competitive, like I get frustrated easy. I get down on myself really easy, and then I just death spiral. Like if I play competitive anything, like I start doing bad and then it just spirals like, oh, I'm down on myself. And then that makes me play worse. And then it just goes and goes and goes.
Yeah. That's the worst part about I'm like the opposite. I love competitive games, but streaming and having all these kids like come at you all day, challenging you and trying to get you, stream sniping you. That's what sucks. That's that
would. So, okay. So before, prior to Twitch, and I know Shawn's down with this. You did make films. You actually, there's a film. Layne, I don't know if anybody knows this. Layne has an IMDb page, and it's quite hefty. If people didn't know, and there's tons of movies on there. The one that I think that I'm the most impressed with is probably The Street Fighter, which was a short film that you did. It was, you put in, it was the essential like indie film, and it's like this guerrilla, and I loved it. And I know I've heard you say that like I would not do, like if given the chance, I don't know if I would do something like that ever again.
Yeah.
But what, I guess, I'm sure you've worked on bigger productions and smaller productions. What aside, what was it that like motivated you to make that? Because I feel like a project like that requires, that like unyielding belief that you have to make this. Like I have to make this thing, or else I might die. I might die if I don't make this thing. So like where did, like what was it that gave you that level of motivation to make that?
I always wanted to make films, and then I fell into this new media YouTube thing, and so I still wanted to just test what would it be like to make an actual big narrative, and I was all dragging my feet and in my head that I needed to be some fucking genius, that like, created some crazy story that, popped off and had all these, all wild ideas and, break new ground and all this, and then one day I said, you know what, get your head out of your ass and just do something. Make a simple story. Who cares if you've seen it a million times? Like everything's been seen a million times. Just, but they haven't seen how you would do it. Just do something simple, right? Yeah. So I just made this simple story about a father-son story and a Street Fighter tournament, and we made it for $5,000, and it was 60 minutes long. So it's actually a feature film. But we split it across 6 episodes.
Right.
But dude, that was a hell of an endeavor. I say I would never do something like that again because it was an immense amount of work. We went 3 months script to screen. So within 3 months, had the idea, wrote the script, shot it, and uploaded the damn thing for $5,000, man.
That's crazy.
Which is like, I mean, that doesn't count all the favors and stuff that we pulled. It was probably closer to $30,000 if you counted all the people we didn't pay, but it was really nuts, man. It was absolutely an insane amount of work. And dude, I still get approached by people at fighting game tournaments like that are like, dude, you made the Street Fighter, that's so awesome.
That's amazing.
It's definitely one of my like proudest things because, and hearing like, people say that it means a lot because I think it's dude, it's hard, man. You make some shit and like you put so much effort into it. It doesn't come out exactly how you want because, nothing ever does.
Right.
But to hear that people like appreciate things that you do, which is very uncommon in the new media landscape.
Yes.
People take for granted content every fucking day. For good reason. There's so much out there. It's crazy nowadays with the amount of podcast, Twitch streams, Instagram, TikTok, Netflix, Hulu, all this stuff. You're competing. I always tell people now, it's like, you want to make a movie? You better hope it's as good as a Black Mirror episode because they're just releasing that shit like it's nothing. And they're awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've, Rich and I have attempted different things. Like we had, if you had a chance to listen to it, we had a Lucy 666 idea. It was basically, the best way I describe it is it's Clerks in Hell.
Yeah. That was our audio. We tried an audio drama.
Yeah. I spent like maybe 3 or 4 months, wrote 12 episodes, and it's just like you said, like, I think they're good. I'd enjoy them. But the amount of work that went into editing just 2 of the episodes, you get all that work, you put it out there, and then you're like, great, I got 3 listens out of it. Or, I've got a couple of short films I put up, just trying my best at it. And every now and then I go back and look at them and they don't have very many hits. And it's just like all the effort you put into it. And you have to wonder if it's worth it or not sometimes. Cause like with this, we've been doing it for almost 6 years at this point. I always feel like this is totally worth it and enjoy it. But, what advice, I guess, do you have for people that come to that point? Because there is the barrier of entry for these things is pretty small. To be the cream of the crop, I think, is another step up. But it's even to get to that point, it's a long journey.
Yeah, I agree. Because I remember like about a year or two ago, well, probably like 2 or 3 years ago, the old adage that people would say with the internet is like, and I believed it, was they would say like, oh, well, the good, you always end up seeing the good stuff. Because the good stuff, finds its way to the cream finds its way to the top. Yeah. Like with the giant sea of content that is out there online, I don't think that's necessarily true anymore. I think that there are tons of really great original ideas that are just out and lost. It's just lost in this sea of everything else.
Yeah. I agree. And that's why, like, you can't take for granted the little things when it comes to doing stuff on your own, like, first of all, being, for example, a podcaster isn't about if you are making a living off podcasting, it's, are you doing it? Yeah. The answer is yes. There you go. You're a podcaster. Yep. Also, like the small things, like, are you making someone's day? Like you guys having me on today makes my day. It makes me feel fucking special, right? And so if anything, you're making me feel, you made my day. You guys made my day. And so you can't take shit for like that for granted, and that's kind of what helps keep you going, right? Like my Twitch stream, I wish I had thousands of viewers, you know what I mean? I was like Dr. Disrespect that didn't even really have to talk to chat unless someone gave me $5, and had the, you know what I mean? Like that would be awesome. Like that'd be the life, but that's just not the way it is. And so what I take from it is like, I feel, I try to, help people out or make them laugh or whatever I got to do. And, that's the best part of doing it. That's what keeps me doing it, right? If I didn't have that, if I was just worried about the Skrilla, then I would have stopped 2 years ago, So I don't know. You got to take the little things. The same thing with filmmaking, man. You got to enjoy the journey and you got to enjoy doing it. And I learned that the hard way, you got to really enjoy the process. When you're making a movie, it's not just about release day. It's about getting everyone together, making people feel energized, feel motivated, doing something for the first time in their life, even if it's the last time in their life, You know, like you're doing something, you are creating energy. And that is the coolest part about something like making a movie or hell, even doing a Twitch stream. Like I think about it every day. I'm like, dude, I wish I had my Twitch stream when I was working because I would be so bored. Like I would have loved to like just kind of hung out in a community and listen to this dude talk and like, you know what I mean? Like be able to talk every once in a while. It's gotta make the day go by a little better. You know, it's gotta be a little nicer than not having it. So like I find comfort in that and what I provide to people's day.
Yeah, 100%. You know, we would usually record on a Monday. I didn't realize that tonight was going to be a motivational Monday night because, but I feel like that's how it's breaking down.
Hey,
and that's
man,
awesome.
That's like my real goal. I'm a motivational speaker, man. Like,
Shawn,
I think, you know, we're kind of talking about that too. Just, you know, creating the movies that I created, it was like everybody's first time. There was no budget at all. It was just kind of us giving it a shot because, you know, we were going off of the why not try it kind of mentality. And I think you do see a lot of people jump into these things because the barrier is so low to be like, oh, well, if I do this, like I've seen, you know, this dude makes so much money doing this, so I'll totally do it. Or this lady makes so much more money, so I'll jump in and do it. But, you know, honestly, Rich and I never had that thought with this. And I think it's just creating something that is yours, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know if you go back and watch the videos you do, but like this podcast is essentially something Rich and I do for ourselves. Like I love listening to the show and I love watching, you know, the shorts I made. I love re-listening to the Lucy 666 episodes because they're just so entertaining to me.
yeah.
And, you know, it may not be the cream. It will never probably rise to the top, but it's something that is entertained me and entertained, you know, a few people. So I think that's really beautifully said in the sense that, you know, you're able to create these things for you. And, you know, of course we'd all love it if it was the biggest thing in the world, but, you know, the odds of that happening are pretty slim. I think for a lot of these kind of things, people say you have better luck taking your money to the track, which sports betting is now legal in a lot of states. So, you know, you got places to go with it. But I think that's really beautifully said, honestly.
Okay, so that just had a question pop in my head. Layne, have you ever gone back to watch like the first like 2 or 3 streams that you did?
Oh yeah, definitely.
How did they like you watching them? How did that seem? How did that look to you? How did that feel to you?
I mean, it feels really like cringy, you know. Like I definitely improved. That's for sure. There, you know, it's like I feel like a totally different person. Like I feel like the shelled up version of myself. Now I'm like a peeled onion. Like at this point, 3 years later, I'm just like, you're at the heart. Everyone's seeing my core. Like I'm not afraid. I like yell at people and I'll cry on stream or you know, I'll get mad or I'll get sad or notice I haven't mentioned happy yet, but it's you know, I feel much more peeled at this point. Like people are actually seeing my true self, you know, like I've been live, you know, 5 days a week for over 5 hours for the past 3 years. And at this point, there's a lot of people that have watched almost every one of my streams. That person knows me pretty damn well. Yeah. They've spent a lot of time listening to my voice and my opinions and stuff. So initially, like watching those old streams, I feel like you're seeing this very, you know, like I'm scared, you know, I'm nervous. I'm not sure what I'm doing, you know.
I can attest to that because like I said at the top of this, you know, the early, like when I started watching Layne on stream, it was one of his first few, and you know, like I said before, there was like a big gap of maybe like, you know, maybe almost a year where, you know, I got busy and whatever and came back. And it was a whole different person. Like there's people going in chat and he's sitting there and he's like, hey, it's party in here. Like I was like, I've been gone for 8 months. What happened? Where?
Yeah. Well, I think it's a bit of advice that I just got that if it's one bit of advice I could give to about like 16-year-old Shawn, it was going to be that you're going to suck at first, right? You know, nobody is playing guitar solos the first time they pick up a guitar. You know, there might be a very minute number of people that can. They're just, you know, they just have that kind of, I guess, God-given talent. But most people, when they do anything, comedy, writing, podcasting, twitching, whatever it is, public speaking, you're going to struggle and you're going to suck at first. But the next time you're going to get better, and the next time you're going to get better, because, we've gone back and listened to our first episode. It is cringeworthy. It's like, wow, did we really sound like that? Yeah. And now it's, it's habit. It's what we do. We come out here and we do these things, and it's fun all the time. Like, we're not trying to force it. And I guess kind of, was there to ask the question, I'll explain how I kind of went. So when we first started, there'd be nights I'd be laying up thinking about ideas, but sometimes I'd let my mind wander to be like, oh my gosh, what if this happened? We got picked up as a Smodco Pod U podcast. It was like a little feature thing they did. And I called Rich right away. I'm like, dude, we made it. I'm quitting my job.
Yeah.
And it didn't really amount to much. It was still awesome. But, after about 2 years or so, when, nothing like, Hollywood wasn't knocking on our door, it was kind of like, okay, well, this is what it is. And I'm completely happy with that. Did you ever kind of go through anything like that with your Twitch stream or your YouTube channel?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, for me, it was like the idea that I know a lot of really big Twitch streamers, and when I first started, like, I got rated by my friend Dodger, who is a female gamer, and, she rated me with like 700 people or something. Yeah. And that's huge, but the thing is I was not ready for it. I was still that like shelled up boy. And I think out of those 700 people that came over, I don't think I got a follow out of it. I don't think anyone followed my channel. And so I had it in like a very micro scale, what you were talking about with y'all's podcast. Like within the second, I was like, here it is. Like, this is where it begins. Like, I am becoming a real, streamer now, and then within 30 seconds later, I'm like falling into the deepest, darkest hole I've ever been in. I'm just like, oh shit, no one likes me. Like, what am I doing? So, yeah, I've definitely been through that feeling many times, Shawn, man, for sure.
I think all creators want to be accepted, right? Like, that's, you're creating this content because you want to entertain, because you want people to, I guess, in a sense, like you. They want to go to it like, I enjoy, Layne's Twitch because I like him. And you get a huge like momentum and basically just kind of reassurance that what you're doing is actually good. And, when you see, it's like you look at other things, you're like, oh my gosh, like this thing's doing so much better than mine. And I think that's kind of where in this day and age with content the way it is, I think if you're comparing yourself to other people like that, you're just doing yourself a disservice, because really if it's what you want to do, it's your thing. And I think once you start getting the mindset of like, well, no, I need to tweak it this way because that's what, everybody else is doing. Like you said, with the fighting games, like, okay, if I do fighting games all the time, 5 days a week, 2 hours a day, that'll get me to, the top of Twitch, or that'll get me to the top of, the podcasting gaming category. But you don't like it, and it's no fun, and it becomes boring, and you get upset with it. And even if you do end up making it, well, now you can't even change it because that's just going to throw everything you've done kind of to the wayside.
Yeah.
And go ahead. Were you going to say something? Sorry.
Yeah. You live in the house you build. And like, if that's the crappy part. I've seen so many people get tired of what they're doing, especially in new media, like these prankster guys.
Oh yeah.
Like I've seen a lot of those guys. They built a huge career out of it. And then they're like, started, realizing that what they're doing sucks and they hate themselves for it, but they have to make that choice. Do I continue being a complete asshole, or do I, stop this and try something else? It's a tough thing, but that's why, it's important to have that vision initially of what's going to keep your interest, what do you enjoy?
Yeah.
So where do you see your Twitch or your Twitch channel in the next, 3 years, next 5 years, 10 years?
Biggest guy on Twitch.
Yeah. I don't think I'll ever be a huge Twitch streamer, to tell you the truth. Not like a big Twitch streamer, because I'm just not my personality. I think I'm a likable dude, but I think my opinions and stuff aren't just in mass. Like I don't do the fake hype thing. I don't do all that. I'm very, you know what I mean? I don't cater to the game very much. Like even my fiance, sometimes she says like, you just, you don't play the game. you know what I mean? That much, you know, so that's, you know, I could cater a little bit more, but it's hard, dude. It's hard. And I think I should, if I wanted to be successful a little faster. And I'm not talking about being fake. I'm just talking about, I don't know, just like playing the game a little bit more. But anyways, it's hard for me. So I don't see myself ever being huge, but I do see myself providing even better content that I think is worth watching, and providing a community that is worth hanging out in, because it's full of cool people that all have good heads on their shoulders, and like it's a nice little support group. Like that's what I think my Twitch stream is. That's where I see it going, and that's what I want it to be. I want it to be a place for people to hang and feel comfortable and know that the people around them are good.
Yeah.
So shit,
Good
I don't know.
stuff.
Yeah. That's
awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, I would love to be like the biggest Twitch streamer in the world too, but that, you know.
You know, even then, so I kind of think about that. Not necessarily with podcasting, and maybe Twitch is even a little bit different because you're the owner of it. But you know, like going back to, like you said, movies. You know, let's say you create this, you know, YouTube movie or a movie you release on your own on YouTube. It just explodes, right? And Marvel comes up and dumps a bunch of money in your backyard, which is awesome. Money's great, right? But now you're making their movie. You're not getting to make your movie. And I always kind of, you know, there was a time where I look back and like, man, you know, I should have kept writing. I should have maybe done this thing. Maybe I should have moved to California. But even if I was successful to the point where I was able to do that, I'm not getting to be my own creator. And I think there's a lot to be said with that. You know, like with this, there's going to be tons of episode that is truly me. Like you said, it's the whole onion thing. Like peel back, what you're seeing is us. You know, it's like you said, you're seeing you on your channel. And if it's somebody else kind of dictating, it's like, well, no, you need to do this, and that'll get you the views. That'll get you up to where you want. And now you're just playing a part. You're playing a persona that's not you.
Yeah.
So there's some nice bit of I don't know, comfort in living in a little bit of anonymity and being yourself, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. And like you're absolutely right, man. Like I learned that as well, because I worked as a director in a studio, you know, for a long time, and I made a bunch of shit for a bunch of people, but none of it was mine. And I thought that would be the dream. But dude, after years, it became just as daunting as you know, making coffee at Starbucks, you know, dude, it was like the same thing, you know, it felt like such a chore, like such a job. And I got, you know, I was writing lists at night, like on the advantages and disadvantages of leaving my job. You know, I was like super down on it, you know, because there's a big difference on making something for someone else and making something for yourself, you know, and it can be very confusing. But I was fortunate enough to go through that process and realize that, I don't really want to make the Marvel movie or, you know, the PewDiePie movie. Like I want to make the Layne Pavoggi movie, you know?
Although the dump truck of money would be nice. I mean, if we're coming down to Brad, like I'd totally be down with a dump truck of money. If anybody has one, then
please.
Looking.
I think that's usually what you see. They'll do that movie. They'll get the dump truck of money. They're like, all right, I'm going to go over here and just do my own thing now.
Yeah.
The smart ones, not the smart ones, but the ones who I think probably have that really creative spark do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's all phases. Like being an artist and making stuff is, I don't know what to say other than it's like a privilege. Like you can't really expect ever, if you're a musician, you can't expect that or think that you should be the one that gets to have a career off of this. If it is, if it turns out to work out for you, that is awesome. That is so cool, you know? And it comes in phases. You can be extremely popular one day, extremely unpopular the next, you know? And it's, you know, I feel like Jordan Peele is a great example of someone that kind of like worked his way through the industry, then popped off. Now he's kind of taking advantage of it, you know, putting his name on everything.
Sure.
And just doing everything he can because he knows that, you know, it's kind of a wave, like, and hopefully it's a big ass wave that lasts, you know, possibly forever for him. But, you know, he knows that there's a possibility that it could just go away. So may as well just, you know, ride the wave as big as he can right now, you know?
Yeah. Do as much as you can while you can. And then you're probably going to kind of fall off. And not be on every sign in the world for all the streaming services ever made. But then you'll see probably 10 years from now if that happens, you'll see a movie pop up that's written and directed and produced by him, and you'll be like, this is one of my favorite movies of all time. And what studio put it out? Oh, he did.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, I think it's time. I think it's time we let Layne go. We send him off into his stream. But before I do, Layne, you gotta pimp everything you have.
Yes.
Pimp it all.
Yeah. Well, if you guys want to hang out on the best Twitch stream, the hottest, most dramatic Twitch stream on twitch.tv, you can go to twitch.tv/Layne Pavoggi. That's LaynePavoggi. And that's for everything. I'm all about synergizing. So I got, it's all Layne Pavoggi, my Twitter, everything. But I really, I think our community, Elder's a part of it, or Rich.
Yeah.
As he's known here.
I was going to say, I'll be in there. I go under the handle Elder Evil.
Yeah. He hangs there.
I have it on while I'm at work pretty much the entire day, but I usually lurk. It's a window that sits in the back, and then I'm like, okay, there's nothing going on. I'll click this forward, and now off we go.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, you can find awesome people like Rich in there. Yes.
Yeah.
Rich.
Well, that's all. Thanks for joining us. I really enjoyed our talk. And usually at this point, we'll do like a Richard's closing thoughts to kind of tidy up the episode.
Oh, how do I tidy this up? I think that this, I guess to sum up the episode, the whole episode, this whole episode, it started out with me fangirling a little bit. I'm not going to lie. Shawn saw the look in my eye. But I think that it evolved into a show to say that, anything that you can make, be it content or if you want to make a table and chairs, anything that you make, at the end of the day, regardless if people think it's good or if people think it's bad, at the end of the day, it's yours. And so why not go make that thing? That thing that's been burning in your, in your brain for, days and nights, and the thing that keeps you up at night. Oh man, I'd really like to do that. Go ahead and make it.
Yeah.
Because why not?
100%. So many people stop because they don't think they're ready, or they don't think it's going to be good. Guess what? Just like Shawn was saying earlier, ain't no one ready.
Nope. You are never ready.
I don't know one baby that's popped out of the womb and just started running around doing laps. You know what I mean?
That's true.
It's the same shit, man. It's just like walking, you got to crawl, then you stumble around, you walk, and then you can run,
Yep. And then you Usain Bolt.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. All right. Well, let me do a little bit of housekeeping before we close this out. Visit our website. We're at languageofbros.com. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at languageofbro. Email us at bros@languageofbros.com. You can like us on Facebook. We've got our merchandise on the TeePublic store. Just search for Language of Bromance. We also have our Patreon account if you want to check that out. And is there anything else before I close her out?
I'm good.
No, thank you guys so much for having me. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Well, that's all the bromance we have for this show. I'm Shawn.
And I'm Richard. And
I'm Layne.
Yeah.
And remember, don't be a why.
Be a why not.
Richard, I have a new podcatcher for you.
Okay, first, what is a podcatcher? Because I don't listen to podcasts.
I know, I look at our downloads. But Richard, a podcatcher is the app you use to get your favorite podcast. The most common is, of course, Apple Podcasts, but I found one that has really cool features. So podcasting is a silent medium, right? The way you find a new podcast is by what non-listeners tell you to listen to. Good Pods, Richard, is a podcatcher that I found and gives you ways to see what your friends are listening to and help you find new podcasts.
Okay, well, wait. Couldn't I just tell you what I listen to?
Well, from time to time, you may see someone share a podcast on some type of social media, but who pays attention to that? Am I right? We obviously do that all the time and people don't see it. But with Good Pods, Richard, you can see the actual podcast your friends listen to, and then you can, right from the same app, listen, subscribe, and then you, Richard, the listener, can share those podcasts.
Okay, but wait. Does this thing do anything else? Does the podcatcher shine my shoes?
It does not shine shoes, but Richard, you can find brand new podcasts to listen to while you shine your shoes. Because Good Pods, Richard, makes searching for podcasts is one of the best out there, not only by podcast name, but by episodes and authors. Good Pods UI is really sweet, and they are providing updates all the time to improve it and make it the best podcatcher out there. Plus, on Good Pods, you can rate, share your thoughts on each podcast episode to help others find the podcast they will love.
Okay. All this does sound good. Everything you're telling me sounds good. So, question. I do not understand phones. Where do I get it?
Oh, it's simple, Richard. Just like any of the apps you buy for your phone, you go to the app store of your choice and search Good Pods, GOODPODS. You download and rate Good Pods, and obviously subscribe to the Language of Bromance and rate the next episode you listen to.
Yeah, because then you catch pods, and then you would catch our pod, and catch our pod because you don't want to catch anything else.
Yeah, and you can catch our pod on Good Pod.
Because our pod is a good pod.